Right, this is New Excellent Men 153, part the third of Here Comes Tomorrow. I have not had a great time reviewing this story. This is a story I really love. I really get this and everything it is doing, but I just come off as an elitist snob and very bitter. This is by Van Morrison and Marc Stanley Lee, a creative team belonging in the upper echelons of great creative teams. And our cover is solid. We have our bad guy, the Great Smurf. Nice cover shot of this bastard. I have already said in the other videos that this is Johnny Subliminal, so no point tiptoeing around it in this one. Our story is that 150 years into the future, things are super bleak. We are on the verge of extinction of just about every species on Earth. It is the most extreme twist on Days of Future's pants, and intentionally so. The truth is, I will try and do this politely this time instead of defensively. A lot of people miss the message of this story. This future is a metaphor for the excellent men. If the franchise keeps rehashing Dark Phoenix Saga and Days of Future's pants over and over again, this is where it will go. This isn't a parody story though. This isn't a deliberately cheeky twist on Days of Future's pants. It plays it straight, and it is an interesting future, but the overall message, reinforced by Phoenix at the end, is that the excellent men need to move on. They need to embrace new things, new ideas, new directions, etc. And this is perfectly embodied in that issue through Cyclist's relationship with Emma Frosty's. We start the story with casually exterminating a species. Start your day with a little bit of extinction. So, our bad guy is Johnny Subliminal. We get its backstory next issue. It is a malevolent bacteria that wants to be the dominant life form on Earth. It wants to cater and design all life on Earth. It's like a god-complex bacteria. A better way to explain it would be to ask if you have ever read West Coast Avengers 47, 48 and 49, because Jason Byrne had a thing called That Which Endures, and it was so similar that the Andy books from the 2000s, they felt a need to note in both Johnny Subliminal and That's profiles that these two bacteria did not have any connection whatsoever. So here, Johnny Subliminal sends one of their genetic creations to slaughter the last safe haven for humans and muties and other species like that. And on this page, I wasn't sure if I would mention this, but Van Morrison, they really artfully and subtly weave some answers or plot beats into this story. Like here, we have this nameless girl. She is attacked by a psychic parasite. And down here, we think she is just spouting gibberish because her brain is being internally devoured. But she is actually, what she is saying here, it refers back to an earlier issue. The flashback where Dr. X killed his twin sister in his mother's womb. And this little bit of a reference, something that I would wager 80% of the people reading this missed. This recontextualizes that moment and suggests Johnny Subliminal had a hand in that. Maybe it created the twin. Maybe it was controlling Dr. X's fetus when he murdered his twin sister. Maybe it is responsible for the twin's mutation. I consider this subtle and almost subliminal, pun intended, obviously there. I understand that something like that, I understand that being overlooked or ignored by future writers or editors. But then you have stuff in this story which Van Morrison outright states that future writers and editors ignored. I already mentioned the Phantomas thing last issue, and I will again next issue. But the bigger one is on this page. Down here we have Nurse X, Dr. X's twin sister. Yes, the one that I just said was killed in utero. Here she outright says and confirms that she was another character in the run called Ernst. It is clear as day when you look back at the comics that this was Van Morrison's intention all along. Nurse X vanishes at the same time that Ernst arrives. There are vague references to Ernst having some big secret. And here, this is our confirmation. Van Morrison even said on their Twitter a few years ago that this was absolutely the case. But Marvel ignored this. They treat it, like the old story, as non-canon. Anything said or displayed in this future is not canon, even though something like this is referring to stuff that happened before this future diverged from the main reality. Basically, after Van Morrison left, the next issue is their last one. After they left, the book's editor also changed, and the new editor, who had no involvement whatsoever in Van Morrison's run, started making proclamations and, well, let's just be honest, enormous retcons to everything Van Morrison had done. Mr. Magnets was not Mr. Magnets. They waited all of 2 days to let Christopher Clairvoyant retcon the best Mr. Magnets story, because how dare Mr. Magnets, the excellent men's archenemy, be their archenemy? He would never become an irrelevant terrorist in the eyes of muties. He would never bully and take advantage of special needs kids. He would never resort to drugs to amplify his powers so that people will respect him. The annoying thing about that is Van Morrison gave them a clear out for that. The drug was Johnny Subliminal. You saw Mr. Magnet's eyes glowing. You just say, like Smurf in this, and like Clinton the Queer earlier in the run, you just say Johnny Subliminal was in the driving seat or influencing him. Nope, not Mr. Magnets. It wasn't a space pants man all along, but it might as well have been. Sorry, I am getting that way again, where I am alienating people by insisting Van Morrison's run was unfairly treated by both Marvel and even most the readers. Amazing artwork by Marc Stanley Lee. He is great in this story, and it is the last time I really liked his art, because after this, even in this, we start to see digital colouring taking over, and I don't mind it too much in this. This is decent enough. But after this, Marc Stanley Lee art will almost exclusively be coloured by one of the worst at it. Everyone and every surface shines. Everything is a gradient. Nothing is a single colour. It is a base colour that usually blurs into a flare. I absolutely hate it, and it truly robs Marc Stanley Lee's art and draws away from his detail and sketchiness to then have it coloured like a Polaroid picture. I thought in this one I would finally get to talk specifically about the story beats going on and the characters, but I haven't. We are about to enter the final fight, the last fight, the excellent men fighting Johnny Subliminal on the precipice of their inevitable extinction. We actually get my favourite line of dialogue in all of comic books next issue, so maybe I will get to that final part faster than I have gotten through the story so far. You know what? I don't recommend this. I think most people who would read this based on my recommendation will be the same people who miss almost everything about it. That might be the worst thing I have said. I have outright suggested everyone watching this are all idiots who would not understand this story as much as me. You do kinda have to read the whole run to get it. So maybe I wasn't being that harsh. First time that I read this, I didn't get it either. I actually didn't like it when I first read it. I was like, what? That's it? I think most of you would be like that. You wouldn't be idiots. You would be confused and underwhelmed by a story that requires a lot of context and attention. I think I pulled that back around. None of you are idiots. This one might just feel like another final Christmas to most persons. But this is the Van Morrison epic that I fully get. Some people fully get Final Christmas. I didn't. I get this one instead. I'll give it 7 thumbs up.